the developed countries do. They have chairs, and your main assignment is to attract research grants, publish research papers, produce PhDs, and so on.
The Vice-Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Professor Ibrahim Garba, said the interactive meeting with Vice-Chancellors of federal universities, initiated by PTDF, raised many issues and concerns. The discussions on their issues and concerns, however, enriched the PTDF proposal on domestication.
We've been able to contribute to enrich PTDF in its own thinking in the best way to achieve their own overall objective. Many issues were raised that revolve around challenges and prospects for meeting to the aspiration of PTDF in training Nigerians within Nigeria in more numbers than before, so that by so doing they will minimize the number of scholars that go abroad so that because of the challenge of funding.
He commended the leadership of PTDF for taking what he termed as radical redirection of its strategies and priorities in training Nigerians for engagement in the oil and gas sector.
For me, it's a new PTDF trying to look at things pragmatically and realistically in a manner that more value may be driven from the resources that are declining, that PTDF relies on using to train Nigerians to serve the oil and gas industry.
And just as the year is gradually coming to an end, PTDF Update will also be taking a temporary break. We appreciate your viewership of the program. Hope to be with you again in the first quarter of next year. In the meantime, have a happy holiday and enjoy the festive season. It's goodbye from all of us. I'm Abdul Fattah Otori.
The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service wishes to inform members of the public that the export of wood and bark to Europe is prohibited. Export in this sense means taking wood and bark of any weight, whether meant for personal consumption or for commercial purposes, to any of the 28 EU member countries. The prohibition of the export of wood and bark covers the wood and bark of all plants, including medicinal plants used in the preparation of agbo. Travelers to Europe are therefore advised to refrain from concealing wood and bark in their luggage, as the materials will be intercepted and destroyed upon arrival.
You must always remember that Nigeria, and indeed Nigerians, have entrusted to you the assignment to protect their lives and properties.
Efforts on improving the nation's domestic security intensified, with new cadets joining the force.
The Council was generally informed that the security situation in the country has tremendously improved.
National Economic Council recommends setting up of state security funds.
I want to confirm to you that we have made adequate provision in the budget.
Finance Minister speaks on new minimum wage. And EFCC arrest former Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Hello, a lovely evening to you and welcome to the Network News at 9 on Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. I'm Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Hingunu John Adams in Lagos will be joining me in the course of this newscast. Now let's begin with security matters, because President Muhammadu Buhari has described the Nigeria Police as a critical pillar of the nation's domestic security agenda and therefore tasked officers and men of the force to at all times uphold public trust by maintaining professionalism in discharging their duties. The President was speaking at Wudil Kano State during the passing out ceremony of the second regular course cadets of the Nigeria Police Academy. State House correspondent Adam Sama reports.
Established in 1988 to provide knowledge for service, the Nigeria Police Academy, WUDIL, is believed to have been living up to its philosophy of producing a highly reformed, mobile, innovative, efficient, and civil police. At this ceremony, attended by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, prominent traditional rulers from Kano State, and other personalities, President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned 628 cadets of the second regular course. Now ASPs, the officers have been equipped with knowledge and skills to face the challenges of policing in an increasingly complex Nigerian society, as well as the technologically sophisticated world. The special guest of honor and chairman of the Police Council, President Muhammadu Buhari, who applauded the academy for grooming the next generation of senior police officers, was however quick to remind the new ASPs of his administration's agenda of securing the country for effective management.
As you attain this milestone, I implore you to operate professionally, gallantly, and courageously as we continue to make Nigeria a safe and secure country for all law-abiding citizens.
The federal government, he promised, will continue to fund and support the Nigeria Police Force and its institutions towards delivering on critical mandate areas.
You must always remember that Nigeria, and indeed Nigerians, have entrusted to you the assignment to protect their lives and properties. This trust must be taken very seriously while upholding the principle of civil policing, leveraging national and international best practice.
The commandant of the Nigeria Police Academy, AIG Zanna Ibrahim, told the new ASPs to bear in mind that although they have been equipped with the required knowledge and skills, practical learning actually starts now.
In the discharge of your duties, always endeavor to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. That is why it is important for you to devote your time and energy to the promotion of public order and security. I encourage you to be selfless, to put your energy, your faith, your talents, and your time into each opportunity that comes your way.
He, however, made a case for the support of the Police Academy Bill now before the National Assembly, as well as enhanced budgetary allocation to enable the Academy cope with modern law enforcement strategies. A major high point of the ceremony was the presentation of a sword of honor by President Muhammadu Buhari to the best graduating cadet officer, ASP Peter Alogo Joseph. The Nigerian leader, supported by the Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu, symbolically decorated ASP Ubaidullah Lawal Kazaure with his new rank on behalf of all the graduating officers. From WUDIL, Kano State, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And states have been advised to set up security funds on zonal basis to further improve the security situation in the country. This is one of the recommendations made by the National Economic Council Committee for Security and Community Policing, headed by Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports on this and other deliberations at the Council's meeting this Thursday.
Well, it is the last meeting of the year by the National Economic Council, and the 100 and issues considered today centers on health, security, and how to put the pension fund into use, especially in the development of infrastructure in the country.
The Council was generally informed that the security situation in the country has tremendously improved.
Governor Sanwo-Olu says the Council's Committee for Security and Community Policing presented a situation report to the Council, which gave the nation's security operatives pass mark. It also notes that there is significant reduction in the proliferation of small arms and weapons as a result of the partial border closure. The committee further emphasizes the relevance of community policing. Governor Sanwo-Olu speaks on the presentation of another NEC committee on mining.
It's also suggested that there's a need to review the Mining Act in order to deal with current challenges faced by the sector.
The Minister of Health and other partners on polio eradication in the country made a presentation which indicates that the country is on the right track towards being declared a polio-free country.
NEC also welcomed the presentation and governor's commitment towards what we call the Seattle Declaration.
And a subcommittee set up to review the Pension Fund Act gave an interim report on its findings on how the fund could further be put to use.
The committee reported and have begun to identify potential road projects and road infrastructure and also other infrastructure in the power sector, in the rail sector that can be used for can be funded through this mechanism. For
the excess crude account, as at 19th of November 2019, we have a balance of $324,967,933 in the stabilization account, we have a balance of 30,479,704,808 naira. In the Natural Resource Development Fund, we have a balance of 88,283,218,914 naira and 40 kobo.
Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed, while giving an update on the balance in the national accounts, informed the council that the deduction for the repayment of loan facility by states is still ongoing. In the State House, Jide Unifadin, NJ News.
Nigeria plans to spend 10.594 trillion naira in 2020. The expenditure framework for the new budget year captures the new minimum wage as approved by President Muhammadu Buhari in April and will focus on provision of critical infrastructure. Presenting the components of the budget, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed said capital releases for 2019 have closed with 1.212 trillion naira so far released. Leah Katun Babatunde completes the story.
This is the fourth time in the 20 years of this democratic dispensation that the budget calendar will be running concurrently with the Gregorian calendar. As of September 2019, the current budget expenditure performance stood at 86.8%. Building on this achievement, the 2020 budget will leverage on the Strategic Revenue Growth Initiatives and the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan ERGP to sustain the economy and improve the well-being of Nigerians.
I've seen in the papers people saying from 1st of January that without TIN number you will not operate your account. It doesn't work like that. That is when we have to engage the commercial banks. The FRS will engage the commercial banks and work out a modality of how this will be implemented. And normally, there will be information that is given to citizens.
8.42 trillion naira is expected to be generated in the course of 2020. A large chunk of it is projected to come from oil. A breakdown of government's expenditure shows that recurrent will go up 4.94 trillion naira, aggregate capital 2.465 billion naira, and debt servicing 2.452 trillion naira. This is largely reflective of prevailing socio-economic fundamentals.
This wouldn't be complete if we don't involve the citizens. So we are working on a technology to ensure that citizens are able to give us feedback, either by ways of pictures or write-ups on projects around their areas, the way it's going.
There are key expenditures captured in the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework MTEF and not in the 2020 budget. They include federally funded projects in oil and gas, transfers to the Tertiary Education Trust Fund TED Fund and the Nigeria Sovereign Wealth Fund, as well as the Presidential Power Initiative. Budget deficit represents 1.52% of GDP and will be financed by privatization proceeds, new domestic and foreign borrowings, and draw down on multilateral and bilateral loan agreements. Ministry of Defense will incur the highest recurrent expenditure, while works in housing will receive the highest capital expenditure.
We cannot promote tourism without infrastructure. And you can see that the lion's share of this year's capital expenditure is actually Ministry of Works and then Power. And these are the areas where we need to invest if we want tourism to really thrive.
The development finance institutions are to be recapitalized with 15 billion naira in the course of the budget year, which comes into effect January 1, 2020. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed says the new minimum wage with consequential adjustments will take effect from December 2019. The minister, while fielding questions on the federal government's 2020 budget of sustaining growth and job creation, affirmed the increase is captured in the 10.594 trillion naira expenditure plan of the government.
Minimum wage, and we are also planning in December to pay for the consequential arrears of the consequential adjustments.
And the new chairman and chief executive officer of the FIRS has resumed duty with commitment to increasing the revenue drive of the federal government amid dwindling revenue. Benny Adams reports that the revenue boss's resumption was unannounced.
The slamming of gavel by Senate President Ahmed Lawan signals the commencement of a new era in Nigeria's top revenue collecting agency, the FIRS. Barely 12 hours after that confirmation, Mohammed Nami hit the ground running with an unscheduled visit to office. While waiting to be received by the acting chairman, Biodun Aino, members of staff in droves came to catch a glimpse of a new bus, with the bold ones reaching for a handshake. Soon after he is received, Nami rolled out his plans for the revenue base of the country.
I'm going to run FIRS in such a way that the core responsibility of FIRS staff that has been contracted out will be immediately addressed.
I pledge the loyalty of all my colleagues, and I believe I'm speaking for them, and their commitment to supporting you to achieve the lofty objective of the service.
Nami is coming at a time the revenue base of the country as at November fell by 104.161 billion naira, short of the previous month. Mohammed Nami is a trained tax, accounting and management professional with highly rated decades of experience. Nami has with him a 13-member board to pilot the affairs of FIRS in the next 4 years. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum says the independent verification assessment across the country will be concluded in January 2020 to allow for the transfer of 2018 grants to states by March 2020. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this follows the release of reports from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation and the World Bank team on state transparency, accountability and sustainability.
The forum explains that comprehensive regional sensitization will commence March 2020 ahead of implementation of the program. The Governors Forum also received a report on universal health, nutrition and polio with commitment to an effective implementation regime. Other report on bilateral trade relations with development partners is also promoting sustainable growth plan and improving indices of the economy. State governors commended Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning for coordinating the GRID 3 program, which will be central to development planning.
Governors Forum members expressed optimism for deeper opportunities in various sectors of the economy, including agriculture, infrastructure, manufacturing, health, education and financial services, and committed to strengthening the forum's partnership with the UK CDC Group and the Private Infrastructure Development Group to help bridge relations between Nigeria and United Kingdom companies.
The forum also received delegation of the Conference of Speakers of the State House of Assembly, where issues fundamental to the running of the second tier of government dominate discussion. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Well, do stay with us here on the News at 9. We'll just take some messages. We're back shortly.
Uze. Let me give phone to Swanny, make I follow up.
It's Wasil, your former driver.
Hey! Wasil! The video call! Oh, Kaka! Mommy. With my Glow 4G, I can now upload my cars online, sell and make plenty profit. Guess what they call me now, mommy? The new mega online car dealer.
Wasil! Right now when the iron is hot.
See, we won't be like Shaki. That will come and meet you specially and bring one big one for you.
Why you won't see me?
Your daughter. I want to marry her.
You know well? I've been wanting to know the Lord.
Hello?
When Glow 4G day of you, confidence must stay body. Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your number one 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, invites select directorate and senior level officers at the ministries, departments and agencies to the second phase of a 4-day specialized capacity building program on policy implementation and cabinet documentation processes for enhanced service delivery. Theme: Capacity building on policy management processes and cabinet documentation for enhanced service delivery. Training objective: to strengthen the skills of directorate and senior level officers at the ministries, departments and agencies in the area of policy management, including preparing and processing of council documents. The training is scheduled to hold as follows. Date: December 19th to 22nd, 2019. Time: 9 a.m. daily. Venue: Center for Management Development, Shangisha, Lagos State. All participants are expected to arrive on December 19th, 2019 for induction ceremony at 4 p.m. Attendance is strictly by invitation. Babatunde Lawal, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Announcer.
You don't really own a watch until you own a Chris Air. Until you own a Chris Air.
Black Watch by Chris Air.
Sexy. The Black Watch.
Beautiful.
The Black Watch. Magnetic. Sexy. Black.
Elegant.
Love the new Black Watch by Chris Air.
Chris Air.
Visit us at Transcorp Hilton Lobby opposite UBA, Abuja.
The Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, cordially invites all stakeholders to a one-day briefing on the deployment of an automated customs gateway portal to be used in the management of customs import duty exemption certificates, IDEC, and imported vehicles identification number registration, VREG. The engagement will hold as follows. Venue: the main auditorium, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Central Business District, Ahmadu Bello Way, Abuja. Date: Friday, 20th December 2019. Time: 9 a.m. prompt. Participants are to be seated by 9 a.m. Dr. Mohammed Kiari Dikwa, MNI, Permanent Secretary, Special Duties, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. Announcer.
Them girls just they feel me now, cause I get some money, then they feel me now. But then they do me anyhow. I don't get some money, they want to get it. Oh yeah, shake body. Oh yeah, move body. Make you ring alarm. Oh yeah, shake body. Oh yeah.
What's football without banter? We love banter. All kinds of banter. Like the banter from a safe distance.
We go beat you later.
There's the "this is still my house" banter.
Dad, 4-0 isn't so bad.
It's not as bad as 0-0. You're only calling to banter.
It's just someone
bad belly banter. Get team can't even score an own goal. Dry banter.
I beg, take Joe. This is the only cup your team will be winning this season.
And then there's that. Better banter. Whatever the banter, banter better with Coca-Cola, the official soft drink partner of the English Premier League.
This is still NTA Network News. Thanks for staying with us. Let's turn our attention now to the judiciary. The former Attorney General of the Federation, Mohamed Adoke, has returned to the country to face charges of alleged money laundering. Adoke arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Thursday afternoon, accompanied by officials of the International Police, Interpol, who handed him over to the Nigerian security operatives. A federal high court, Abuja, had in April 2019 issued a warrant of arrest against Mohamed Adoke, former Petroleum Minister Dan Etete, and any oil company executive Roberto Kasula for their alleged involvement in the Malabo oil deal. The oil deal, which involved OPL 245, a lucrative oil block located in offshore Nigerian waters, allegedly led to $1.1 billion changing hands in the deal. Meanwhile, EFCC spokesman Wilson Owujaren confirmed to NTA News that the former Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Federation, Mohamed Adoke, is in their custody. Security experts are brainstorming in Abuja for the next 2 days in order to take proactive steps to implement the roadmap provided by the 2019 National Security Strategy to mitigate security challenges. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, says her ministry, as one of those saddled with humanitarian challenges resulting from insecurity, is resolved to partner stakeholders to make Nigeria safe. Lydia Sampson reports.
Put together by the Nigerian Army Resource Center and the University of Abuja, this session is all about evaluating the country's national security challenges with a view to charting a way forward. Professor Sadiq Abba is with the Department of Political Science, University of Abuja. He's not just a participant, but also one of the resource persons.
In Political Science Department, we believe that the best security in the whole world, and that is the universal best practice today that is being operated globally, is citizens-driven security system.
Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, is concerned about mitigating humanitarian challenges. It is therefore understandable that she is vowing to take the lead in coordinating response to the displaced persons.
We are working together with the military to see that we have a very smooth operation, both the security angle as well as the humanitarian angle.
For the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukul Buratai, the seminar is the needed platform to rub minds for better understanding and performance.
The outcome, ideas and recommendations will be communicated to the various organizations represented here.
This seminar is therefore all about having the buy-in of all to mitigate security challenges in the country. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, says the present administration will involve citizens' participation in the entire gamut of budget implementation. This was part of his commitments as it took over the co-chairmanship of the Open Government Partnership National Steering Committee from the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. Abubakar Malami. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Open Government Partnership is an international initiative that aims to secure concrete commitments from governments to promote transparency, support civic participation, fight corruption, and harness new technologies inside and outside public administration to support innovation. Nigeria is currently implementing 14 commitments from her 2017 to 2019 action plan in that direction. This National Steering Committee's meeting is essentially convened to hand over to new leaders that will steer the OGP for the next 2 years.
The well-thought-out decision of President Muhammadu Buhari to embrace the open government principle has created the opportunity for Nigeria to creatively ensure we move in a direction that ensures openness, transparency, and accountability in governance.
In total, 14 states have joined OGP in the past 2 years, and there are signs that more states will sign onto the process, given the impact the OGP has at the national level. Both past and present co-chairs of the steering committee agree that lack of openness and corruption have hindered government's progress in the areas of transparency and accountability in the past. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
More funding to boost operational capability seems to be in the offing for the Nigerian Navy after a visit from the Senate Committee on Navy. Correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
Nigeria's Navy is counted as the largest in West Africa, with an estimated 25,000 personnel and roughly 200 platforms. However, analysts say its capabilities are not commensurate with its size and note the need for more funding as some of its platforms are now redundant or obsolete. The Senate Committee on Navy, led by its chairman, Senator George Sekipo, has been presented with a scorecard of naval operations. Efforts are being intensified for the Nigerian Navy to acquire more than 50 new platforms, including warships and air platforms for maritime patrol and rescue operations. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Air Force says it is poised to repositioning their force to a highly professional and disciplined one through capacity building in response to Nigeria's national security situations. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said this at the public lecture on the role of the Nigerian Air Force in contemporary security challenges. Ijoma Ozomenam reports that the event was held at the University of Jos.
Air Force Chief explained that the force has trained over 1,000 professionals and personnel with skills in combating terrorism and insurgency as the greatest threat to the Nigerian state. He also said the mandate of the NAF is to ensure integrity of the airspace by gaining and maintaining control of the air, creating internal security operations and civil military projects designed for the health of the innocent citizens. The Chief of Air Force, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said running an air force is an expensive venture, especially where the underlying local technological base is inadequate.
Whatever we are doing, we must ensure that as much as possible, no innocent person is killed in the course of making Nigeria secure and Nigerians.
Vice Chancellor of University of Jos, Professor Sebastian Maimako, expressed optimism that a memorandum of understanding will be signed with the Nigerian Air Force for project research purpose. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Still staying with NAF, 2 Nigerian Air Force personnel who died in service have been honored posthumously as 2 buildings inaugurated by the Minister of Defense at the 053 NAF camp have been named after them. Correspondent Najatu Tijani has more.
The inauguration of the 4 blocks of living quarters named after these 2 personnel who lost their lives in active service signifies a sustained tempo in promoting the welfare of officers like Wing Commander Gumut, one of the beneficiaries.
Because it trickles down to the family and it encourages the personnel.
Key players in the defense sector say this is the least the country can do for those who sacrifice a lot to keep Nigeria safe.
Those of us who are living to remember the dead and be sure that we give them the right places.
The Nigerian Air Force and indeed Nigerians are appreciative of the sacrifices that our fallen heroes have made. And I think the families are equally aware that we are doing everything humanly possible to support them.
With the Minister of Defense describing this provision as an achievement, the Nigerian Air Force says its personnel can rest easy, knowing that after a hard day's work of defending the nation, there is a place where they can rest. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Very, very interesting initiative there. In other news, the Ministry of Information and Culture will continue to pursue the aspiration of the NTA towards having all its studios nationwide fully digitized. The Minister, Lai Mohammed, said this at the handing over of new digital state-of-the-art broadcast equipment to zonal directors and general managers in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has details.
The International Telecommunications Union, ITU, sets the 17th of June 2015 as the deadline for the transition from analog to digital broadcasting for countries in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. It is in a bid to join countries that have fully migrated that NTA purchased these state-of-the-art digital broadcast equipment for all its stations. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, before handing over the equipment to heads of the various stations and centers, said there will be conflicts in transmission if digital contents are ingested into analog stations, which necessitated a vigorous pursuit of NTA's loan for upgrade of equipment and facilities.
We will need to put more pressure and ensure that the entire NTA studios in the entire country go digital. I know that we put before the President a request for $500 million to digitalize our entire studio, and so we all have to work hard, lobby our legislators, and pray that that loan is approved so that we'll actually be working 21st century environment, beneficiary stations.
After a symbolic handing over, the minister was led to the Nigecomsat Earth station, which he says is in line with the policy of the present administration of utilizing what it produces.
I am very proud that the NTA has actually walked the talk. They have demonstrated that Executive Order number 5 is beneficial to the country, not only in terms of making us self-sufficient, but also in terms of building capacity and creating more jobs.
One thing is to acquire, another is to ensure the sustainability of the equipment.
They've been sensitized, they know the value of this equipment, and they are ready and raring to go. So there's no problem at all. No fear of any damage, no fear of lack of maintenance, nothing of that nature.
Outside broadcast vans, camera chains and stream boxes are some of the equipments acquired.
You have clean, clear picture signals, and then the beauty again is that those facilities can use the Wi-Fi devices. So in other words, with that camera you can do a live transmission wherever you are. The camera too also have a facility where you can also edit.
With this equipment, I want to assure you that there will be a lot of improvements in the standard of what we dish out from our stations.
To ensure optimal utilization, NTA management has been training operators of the equipment. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
NTA stepping it up a notch there, wait for it. And strategies on how to serve Nigerians better in the area of broadcasting dominated discussions as the Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, met with zonal directors and general managers of the authorities' headquarters in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday again reports.
From all the geopolitical zones of the country, these zonal directors of network centers and heads of stations converged on Abuja to review their operations in the year 2019. It was also an opportunity for them to make contributions on how to move the largest TV network in Africa forward. Director General Yakubu Ibn Mohammed was emphatic on strategic operations for better service delivery.
But if I have to choose between making a good man, a chief executive, and a good professional, a chief executive, I will choose a good professional over a good man. I always say, yes, it is difficult, it is daunting, it is challenging, but
if we are determined and focused, I think we'll get to the promised land.
The Director General's directive of ensuring better broadcasting in 2020 is expected to be communicated for the year 2019. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates former acting governor of Taraba State, Umar Garba, as he turns 72. In a statement, President Buhari commends leadership skills of the former acting governor, describing him as an eminent community leader. Meanwhile, the President Muhammadu Buhari has approved that the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) be recomposed and inaugurated after the forensic audit of the organization. In a statement by the special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Fema Adesina, says the President has also directed that the interim management team of the NDDC shall be in place till the forensic is completed, and that the supervision of the Commission shall remain under the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs. The federal government has declared Wednesday 25 and Thursday 26 December 2019 as well as Wednesday 1 January 2020 as public holidays to mark the Christmas, Boxing Day and the New Year celebrations respectively. In a statement, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, congratulates Christians and Nigerians home and abroad on this year's Christmas and New Year celebrations. He enjoined all Christians to live within the virtues and teachings of Jesus Christ, which hinge on compassion, patience, peace, humility, righteousness and love for one another. He expressed confidence that 2020 would be a breakthrough year for all Nigerians. And now let's join Ingunu in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Ingunu.
Thank you, Joseph, and a warm welcome to Lagos. As a way of bridging the ever-existing communication gap between government and the people, the need for effective and efficient communication framework must be put in place to make the governed feel a sense of belonging in the running of business of governance. This was the focus of speakers at the Policy Roundtable organized by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Policy Development and Analysis in Lagos. Tunde Saiki reports.
Over the years, there has always been this belief that most government policies and programs are not always well communicated to the people. This, in other words, sometimes leads to the people not well informed or understand what these policies are because of poor communication framework. It is against this background that the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Policy Development and Analysis decided to find a way of bridging the communication gap in governance.
There are a lot of stakeholders identify some gaps, which of course board on the strategy in which government communicate to people. And that's why we have to sit down and address those issues, look at these issues, and then advise the government.
The founding dean, School of Media and Communication, Pan Atlantic University, Lagos, noted that engagement in communication must be motivational and not distorted, adding that the leader must communicate frequently with the people.
The role of communication systems, you don't think of them in isolation from the social and political environments in which they exist, because they are functional within that kind of process.
Other discussants say governance and engagement must be responsive, that will connect minds of citizens with the government, thereby making them to understand their needs and how to deliver it. The Policy Roundtable is the second in the series of engagements with stakeholders on how to assist government in bridging the gaps of communication in Nigeria. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Now talking politics. Prominent politicians from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Lagos State have decamped to the All Progressives Congress with a view to strengthening the existing development going on across the state. The event, which took place at the APC Secretariat in Lagos, was witnessed by chieftains and other members of the ruling party. Once again, Tunde Saiki reports.
The PDP members who crossed to APC were welcome amidst fanfare.
Among the defectors are Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe, who was represented by his son Moyoshore Ogunlewe, Tajuddin Aguru, Mutiu Olakunle Okunla, Abdurrahman Salawe, and many others.
This APC flag, and I want him and his dad to continue to keep this flag. Congratulations.
We are ready for Nigeria development, for the unity of Nigeria.
The only way forward in Nigeria right now is APC.
We want to compliment what the president of the Nigeria is doing, President Muhammadu Buhari, at our local government.
Chairman, Lagos State All Progressives Congress, Tunde Balogun, described the step taken by the defectors as a good omen for the ruling party. He said it's a testimony of good governance.
Politics is a game of numbers, and since they have come in thousands, they will add to the figures, add to our votes, and add to our strength in Lagos.
He further stressed the need for other political parties to join hands with the ruling party to be part of the success story of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this timeout. Please stay tuned.
Hey, bro, what's up, man?
Wait. Sure, son, I want the device to carry.
Enjoy more data than before on Airtel Home Broadband. Get up to 160 gigabytes on routers with 25,000 Naira and 55 gigabytes on Airtel MiFi's with 12,000 Naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Them girls just they feel me now, cause I get some money, then they feel me now. But then they do me anyhow. I don't get some money, they wanna get it. Oh yeah, shake body. Oh yeah, move body. Make you ring alarm. Oh yeah, shake body.
Expressions without words won't have it any other way. Moments will feel joy. Been lost in the moment, the freedom. You will find that's what's celebrating. Bring your moment to life. Find your satisfaction in the nourishing trend and sparkling. Celebrate a little ways, making big differences in the nourishing trend and sparkling.
Enjoy in red grape, white grape, peach variants, Valletta sparkling fruit drink. Celebrate every moment.
Years ago, a scout was looking around Bayelsa. Luckily for me, he came to my school. And that was how my journey of becoming the Nestle Milo Basketball Championship MVP began. Along the path, some people tried to discourage me because I was short. But then I got to realize that it's about your heart, not about your height. Sometimes I get discouraged going for training and all that. Sometimes I trek. And that is what every person that knows where he or she is going has to do, to play along with the challenges and make sure you overcome it. I am grateful for the platform Nestle is giving to young athletes like me. My name is Regina Donano, and this is my journey.
Nestle, good food, good life.
Nothing can stop you from achieving your dreams but you. Nothing can stop you from achieving your dreams. Chris is saying, believe in your originality and nothing can stop you.
Chris Air Fine Jewelry and Timepieces. Visit us at Transcorp Hilton Lobby opposite UBA Abuja.
I think she's got the hots to me. I think she likes me.
I don't think so.
I think she
Cut it out. That's my girlfriend.
I'm out. Coming through. Yeah, that's it, baby. I'm all yours.
So tasty.
How is it going in there?
Pretty cozy.
Mini-Me. Taste the fun.
You're still watching NTN Network News, and we are back in Abuja. There is a ray of hope for the Nigeria power sector as federal government set up task force that will develop and drive forward reforms in the sector for improved power supply in the country. Joshua Ojito reports.
These are experts in the power sector coming together to tackle challenges bedeviling the sector for decades. For the next 2 years, the task force will serve as advisory team on policies and innovative technologies initiated by the Buhari administration to improve power supply in the country.
Members of the task force were carefully selected. They are people who are conversant with issues in the power sector. Therefore, I have no doubt in mind that the outcome from the task force will be acceptable to all stakeholders within the power industry.
The task force is going to take time to study the sector thoroughly, look at the specific aspects that have not changed over the years. But those aspects are the ones preventing electricity supply.
The 22-man task force will also liaise with key players in the distribution value chain of electricity supply for inputs towards addressing inadequate power supply in Nigeria. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The Niger Delta Petroleum Resources Limited has renewed a 3-year agreement with 5 communities in Rivers State on its mining operations at OML 54. Ijoma Ogweke reports that the government officials or community leaders witnessed the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding.
The renewal of the mining operations at OML 54 is to ensure transparency in the implementation of the content of the agreement entered since 2005 when NDPR commenced operations at the oil field.
The company is informing government that there's an agreement they are having with their host communities. And each of those things contained in the agreement are demand-driven.
We are on the same page with our communities. They are very hospitable, very peaceful, and we too as a company, we try to do what we said we are going to do for their communities.
Community leaders of Obumeze, Oshuboko and Obele in Ahuda East and Omoraka and Otari in Abuodwal local government areas signed the agreement. While applauding NDPR for maintaining a good working relationship with the host communities, some community leaders appealed for prompt implementation of provisions of the agreement to ensure peace in the various communities, prosperity in terms of infrastructure and job opportunities, as well as to increase internally generated revenue for the state.
2 years ago, there was a road built by NDPR for Bumeze community, which is also a blessing.
We have a good relationship with the NDPR, and I think that they will implement whatever is stated in the MOU.
The MOU will expire in December 2022. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Anambra State government is to collaborate with the Federal Road Safety Commission to ensure free flow of traffic in the state this Yuletide season. This came to the fore when the FRSC Corps Marshal Boboyo Yeyemi paid a courtesy visit to Governor Willie Obiano at the Governor's Lodge. Ndem Kalu has details.
The visit is to commend the governor for his efforts in road construction and to assess the level of traffic flow by removing obstructions from the road. Governor Obiano expressed optimism that with the help of the commission, the state will witness free flow of traffic while urging road users to obey traffic rules.
We've spent money to install traffic lights in 80 locations, and therefore I've also requested them to arrest anybody that alleges that you must obey the traffic light. The governor obeys the traffic lights, so you must obey the traffic lights.
RNC Commercial Boboye Oyemi gave assurance that the people of Anambra State and the Southeast will enjoy free flow of traffic this Yuletide season, while urging the people to make use of the toll-free number 122 in case of any emergency.
Therefore, the key issue has to do with recovery, move up, broken down there, ensure free flow of traffic.
It is the hope of the state government and the commission that this Christmas will be free of road crashes. Ndem Kalo, NTA News.
A two-day investment forum between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia has opened in Abuja, the nation's capital. The forum, which is a fallout of the just concluded Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit, is to create new opportunities for import and export amongst the two countries.
They didn't have to do this, but they are doing it for the passion for the country. I went to Saudi and convinced a lot of them to come to Nigeria to exhibit. And all those who have come and said, wow,
the Nigerian Diaspora Commission and organizers of the event wants more Nigerians to take advantage of the forum. More than 50 corporate investors are participating. Let's just take a few messages. We are back shortly. Stay with us.
This Saturday on the Premier League, Newcastle United go